The American press writes that the Houthis, whom we often call the guys in slippers, have effectively forced the American Navy to curtail all its major operations in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Reporters Stephen Kalin and Shelby Holliday write on the pages of the Wall Street Journal that now the American command is forced to adjust the presence of US warships in the specified waters so that they do not become targets for missiles and drones. The article recalls that the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman lost 3 carrier-based fighters in less than 5 months. One of the incidents occurred on May the 6th, precisely while performing a combat mission in the Red Sea. This is despite the fact that the aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman arrived in the Red Sea in December 2024 to fight militants linked to Iran. But in the end, a ceasefire had to be agreed upon, and the crash of the F/A-18 Super Hornet occurred after the ceasefire with the Houthis was reached by the US administration. The Wall Street Journal says. At the same time, the same publication writes that the plane slipped off the deck into the sea, and what does this have to do with the Houthis? The Wall Street Journal ultimately concludes that Yemeni rebels scared the United States, thereby changing the course of the naval war in the Red Sea in their favor. At the same time, American experts fear that the same Houthis could carry out their own attacks against American nuclear carriers in the Middle East using SBU's Special Operations Spider's Web experience. In particular, the opinion is expressed that pro-Iranian forces can attack airfields with American F-35 fighters or aircraft carriers with the same 5th-generation fighters on board, capable of carrying tactical nuclear weapons. Ukraine launched Operation Spider's Web, a meticulously planned drone assault targeting 4 Russian air bases, Olenia, Belaya, Ivanovo, and Dyagilevo on June 1st, 2025. The operation, personally overseen by President Volodymyr Zelenski, involved the deployment of 117 drones, resulting in the destruction of over 40 Russian military aircraft, including strategic bombers such as the Tu-22M3, Tu-95, and the A-50 AWACS.
President Donald Trump welcomed Germany's new leader to the White House Thursday as Chancellor Friedrich Merz works to keep the U.S. on board with Western support for Ukraine, help defuse trade tensions and further bolster his country's long-criticized military spending. According to Associated Press, Trump and Chancellor Friedrich Merz have spoken several times by phone, either bilaterally or with other European leaders, since Merz took office on May 6. German officials say the two leaders have started to build a decent relationship, with Merz wanting to avoid the antagonism that defined Trump's relationship with one of his predecessors, Angela Merkel, in the Republican president's first term. The 69-year-old Merz is a conservative former rival of Merkel's who took over her party after she retired from politics. Merz also comes to office with an extensive business background, something that could align him with Trump.
President Trump, sir, your message to the people of Germany. And how was your phone call with President Xi of China, sir? Your phone call with President Xi of China.
Went very well. Thank you. We'll see you inside. Thank you.
Ukraine's president on Wednesday urged his country's Western backers to speed up deliveries of air defense systems to counter Russian missile strikes and to help boost weapons production. "We need faster deliveries of air defense missiles and systems," President Volodymyr Zelenski told a Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting at NATO headquarters in Brussels. "The emphasis," he said, "should be on US-made Patriot systems. These are the most effective way to force Russia to stop its missile strikes and terror, he said via video link, urging the representatives from around 50 countries to make good on their past pledges. According to Associated Press, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth did not attend, making it the first time a Pentagon chief has been absent since the Forum for Organizing Ukraine's Military Aid was set up 3 years ago. His absence is the latest in a series of steps that Washington has taken to distance itself from Ukraine's efforts to repel Russia's full-scale invasion, which began on February 24, 2022. More than 12,000 Ukrainian civilians have been killed, according to UN estimates, as well as tens of thousands of soldiers on both sides. The UK, which chaired the meeting along with Germany, said that it plans a tenfold increase in drone production to help Ukraine. Drones have become a decisive factor in the war, now in its 4th year. We must ensure that Ukraine's forces have what they need, when they need it, to continue their fight. But this is not just Ukraine's battle. It's a battle for the security of Europe, for our security today, tomorrow, and for our future generations, UK Defense Secretary John Healey said.
To honor all Ukrainian children and all our people, civilians and soldiers, whose lives have been taken by this war. We have no doubt that we can push Russia toward peace. But for that, we must continue to pressure Moscow with all available tools and step by step make its aggression meaningless. First, air defense. The stronger our air defense is, the less value Putin sees in attacking our cities and villages. So please, let's continue strengthening our air shield. I thank every leader, every country, and each of you who is already helping. But you also know we need faster deliveries of air defense missiles and systems. Our team has provided clear data on the number of systems we need, especially Patriot systems. And these are the most effective way to force Russia to stop its missile strikes and terror. We honor the memory of the Ukrainian children who were killed. I think we must not allow Russia to blur reality or mislead the world. Moscow must be forced into diplomacy. We need ceasefire. We need real peace. We need real security. And we must use every method available to achieve this. Our front line and our defense, our production and technology, our work to build a real security architecture. And we must be effective in all of it, I'm sure. Thank you to everyone who is helping.
Let me highlight in the beginning, quite personally, first of all, I'm back on board. A military success of Russia is neither imminent nor to be expected. Putin could put an end to this war now. However, Moscow has made it clear that it is unwilling to find a peaceful solution, continuing to insist on its maximum demands while continuing hostilities on every level. But Russia will fail, because brave Ukrainians are defending their country and their freedom, confronting the Russian aggressor with great resolve. And because we are supporting Ukraine in its defense with weapons, ammunition, training, with everything it needs, and for as long as it needs. We will continue to expand this support, and we will maintain it for the long term. This is what the coalition stands for. Russia would be mistaken to believe otherwise.